G'day everyone and welcome to the ATP Project. You're with your host Steve and Jeff. You're a bit of a hot mess this morning.
Yeah,
What's going on with the hair?
I know. It's long.
It's just
wild.
Seriously, it looks like you've just been in a blow tunnel or something.
That's terrible, isn't it? I've got to get it cut. I hate long hair. And
do you?
I used to have really long hair.
Yeah, and Matt, our sound guy's got long hair.
No, I had longer hair than that.
Really?
Curls down to here.
Do you know my sister's got dreads down to her ankles, down to the backs of her knees.
Wow, that long?
Yeah.
When I met her yonks ago, they were long. I remember having very long
She can put her hair up like Marge Simpson.
Oh, I love Marge.
I know. Anyway, Steve.
Great stuff.
I digress. Hey, so guys, this is a bit of a hot mess start to the podcast as well, too, I've got to say. But what are we talking about today?
The podcast?
Yeah.
Right. We're going to talk about sexist diseases.
Well, we're talking about hair loss. I mean, that's not always, because women do get alopecia as well too. But
they don't get male pattern baldness though.
No, and that's largely caused from DHT, though women can get DHT build-up. But yes, alopecia for women and men, typically male pattern baldness, Steve. But
So what I'm not talking about is a bit weird one. I'm not going to talk about, prostate cancer for men or breast cancer for women. Now, as I said, it's a little bit controversial today.
Okay.
But it's not too bad. I don't think it's controversial at all. We're talking about diseases that affect women more or men more, and I'm not talking about prostate and all that, breast cancer. I'm talking about diseases that affect both sexes, but there is this disease that seems to be driven more towards either females or males. And I've got the first one for you. It's a scary one, Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah.
Obviously, males and females get it, but guess who gets it more?
Males.
It's actually females.
Why?
Wow, glad you asked that exact perfect question. But it's a perfect question for the next paper. You're really good at the segue.
Okay.
But I'll get to that one either.
All right.
The first, I'll just read you some stats so you know.
Yep.
Basically, Alzheimer's disease does everyone know what that is? It's a progressive dementia that usually happens when you're old or even in the 60s. And 7.1% of women get it and 3.3% of men get it.
Wow. Well, then the difference between men and women, as I see it, is typically hormone changes, obviously. So therefore, estrogen, testosterone.
Very much so.
Right. Okay.
You're right on track with this one. So women get it twice as more.
So what is it? Estradiol? Is it right? What is it?
It's their lack of testosterone that really drives that disease.
Right.
Now, how do we know that? Well, we'll fast forward. I'll read the study out so people are following along. It says the role of sex and gender in the selection of Alzheimer's patients for clinical pre-screening. So that's the paper where I get that data from. The second one was a really interesting paper published in the Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry and Neurology in 2020. And it's called Testosterone and Cognitive Impairment or Dementia in Middle-Aged or Aging Men. And it was a systemic review and meta-analysis. Mm-hmm. And what they found here is that, and they are starting to find out who's at risk of Alzheimer's. And what they know is the lower testosterone you've got, the more risk you have of getting Alzheimer's. But the conclusion of this study, and I'll cut a long story short, it said lower testosterone, lower levels of testosterone may be associated with increased risk of all-cause dementia or Alzheimer's disease. So what they were doing was they were looking for people who were getting Alzheimer's, and they were measuring their testosterone, and they were lower. But then they went forward and said, okay, if you've got low testosterone, then you're at a much higher risk of developing Alzheimer's disease because testosterone is protective against brain dementia.
Why?
Because it detoxifies beta amyloid plaques out of the brain.
What's a beta amyloid plaque?
Glad you asked. It's a plaque that's associated with Alzheimer's disease.
Right.
And it sets up an autoimmune response in the brain where it attacks this plaque in the brain and you get neuroinflammation and it leads to shrinking of the brain and dementia.
How do women detoxify that plaque?
They have to maintain healthy testosterone levels.
How do you maintain healthy testosterone levels as a female?
Two ways. The most important ways, and I'm holding my arm out here for those who are listening, is they insert a little pellet and just under their bicep, which releases testosterone slowly.
Okay, Steve.
Over about 3 months.
I believe that nature knows best. So how do you do it naturally?
That was the next thing.
Okay.
Things like Tonkat and Shilajit increase testosterone in women.
Right.
Yeah. So you've got to remember, everyone thinks testosterone bad for women. And if you've got PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, too much testosterone is a bad thing.
Yep.
But too little testosterone is a bad thing as well.
Yep.
Women need it too.
Yep.
We need estradiol. So it's not like...
Question for you.
Yes.
What about training? What about weight-bearing exercise? Can that improve hormone balance in females?
Incredibly powerful way of doing it in women, yeah.
So weight-bearing. So even if you're elderly, And definitely go and talk to your personal trainer as well too. But getting on the leg press machine, if you can, mobility allowing.
Yes.
You know, even things like squats, if you've got good mobility, so long as it's, again, with a personal trainer. But weight-bearing exercise, especially stuff that involves the central nervous system.
Yes.
I mean, when I'm saying squats, by the way, I'm not saying load up, you know, 60 kilos on the squat bar. I'm talking about body weight squats. You know, slow and steady. Even if you put a bench behind you, and again, I am not a personal trainer, so you must go and talk to your personal trainer about this. But any form of exercise, I think, can significantly improve not only muscle tone, which we know helps with bone density, but obviously hormone as well too. Correct, Steve?
Oh, and your heart and forget all the heart and all that crap. It's really great. Just forget that crap.
Yeah, you
it's
don't need
great
that.
for your brain as well. It really is. Exercise is extraordinarily good for your brain. So this testosterone, and because men have naturally more testosterone, we actually halve our risk of Alzheimer's disease. So the $64 million question is, there are now drugs that were, and this is another sexist thing, that women were getting for fertility that men are taking to boost testosterone. You know, yes, there's those herbs, which I think are the most important, shilajit, tongkat ali. But have you heard of clomiphene?
No.
Okay, clomiphene is a drug that you give to women if they want to increase their ovulation. Okay, sounds great. You know, a woman's in her mid-40s, wants to have more kids, you chuck them 50 milligrams of this a day and they produce more eggs. And it does that by increasing luteinizing hormone and follicle-stimulating hormone in the brain.
I've heard a lot of guys use it after they've been on testosterone like steroids to improve natural production again, because you know luteinizing hormone is a precursor to testosterone in men as well.
It stimulates it. It acts like it whips your testes into, that's a bad term, isn't it? It tells your testes to make more testosterone and sperm.
Right.
And there was a paper published in Andrology called clomiphene citrate for men with hypogonadism, a systemic review. Now, hypogonadism is low testosterone, and they basically said, yep, it works really well, low side effects. So now we've got a tablet form of, I'll call it testosterone. It's not testosterone, but it stimulates your own testosterone without impeding fertility, that seems safe in a meta-analysis published in Andrology.
Okay. And Steve, you know, and again, I'm not anti-pharmaceuticals at all.
No.
Understand they absolutely have their place.
Yep.
But if you're trying to do it naturally, what would you replace that product with? Is there anything naturally that you could use to do that?
Shilajit is the best of them.
Same again, right?
It is. And
Tongkat?
Tongkat ali, and also Tribulus is a great one too, because that stimulates LH and FSH.
Yep.
And so they work great. I'd try them first and before you start onto this stuff, because they're natural, they work great.
And for men, zinc is also incredibly important as well. It's kind of like a primer. Like if you don't have zinc, I mean, you can smash as much shilajit and tongkat and tribulus as you want, but if you don't have zinc, effectively, you know, you're misfiring really, because that's a exactly. So it's sort of quite scary that the women get twice the dementia as men. Okay. But we don't want anyone to get dementia.
No, we don't want it. So now there's going to be some people who are going to say, oh, but women live longer. And they do, about 4 years. But this was age stratified, this paper that I was talking about.
What does that mean?
That means that they accounted for age.
Right.
And so it just was twice as much in women.
Wow.
Because they have just less testosterone. Because they aromatize it or turn it into estradiol.
Yep. So
if they can exercise, take tongkat ali and all those herbs we mentioned, that can help testosterone maintain as healthy as long as possible. And eventually, maybe down the track, they can get some hormone replacement therapy.
As you go through the phase of life as well too, Steve, menopause and andropause and all that sort of stuff as well too, my understanding is that the adrenals, the adrenals also kick in and actually help to produce more hormone load as well too, correct? So therefore, looking after your adrenal function, what are some of the ways that you can do that to also help with the hormonal profile?
Tongkat ali is a great one.
Okay.
But because that actually frees up testosterone and suppresses cortisol, because your body makes, let's say, hormone precursors, and it's got two choices from cholesterol. It can go to sex hormones, which is what you really want, and cortisol. So if you're stressed all the time, not just for a half hour at the gym every day, but all the time, then you can obviously get rid of the stress, but herbs can reduce the stress. So any anti-anxiolytics. So even things like withania and Sandra, those sorts of things.
Can turmeric help?
Yeah, turmeric helps because it's very anti-inflammatory, which reduces the inflammatory load.
Just don't take turmeric with black pepper. I'm damn sick and tired of hearing this increases bioavailability. It is not the way that it works.
It works in the microbiome.
Yeah, that's right. If you're taking turmeric and it has black pepper, throw it out. I mean, unless you've got the big C, right?
Yeah, the big C, because then you can get it systemically.
Yes, but the funny thing is that people think they're so smart. They talk about, the effects of turmeric and different, population bases, China and India and all the rest of it, that we're using it because they found such amazing benefits for inflammation and stress and things like that. They go, oh, we know, we'll make it even better by putting black pepper with it because it enhances absorption.
Yeah.
It does, but that's not how it works. It needs to go through the body to actually have a systemic effect the way that we want it to work, unless you have, the big C.
The big C, which is different because you want to saturate the tissues. But
but for 99.9% of people, you do not want to take turmeric with black pepper.
Not at all.
Anyone who's telling you that doesn't know what they're talking about.
Not at all. So an incredible scenario with dementia, because everyone's scared of getting dementia and Alzheimer's. 7.1% of women get it, 3.3% of men.
Yep.
And it's due largely to testosterone. So if you want another reason to exercise and eat well.
And obviously good quality sleep. And look, and I keep saying this as well too. I know this sounds really funny, but get some joy in your life. Steve.
Yes.
Amperage.
Amperage is a measure of electricity.
But it's also one of my favourite supplements that we make at ATP Science. Now, it's funny. This is a product that we've been using. My wife, Tony, uses it. She actually puts it in her coffee every morning to make what you'd call a bullet coffee.
Yes.
And it's interesting because I'm not a fan of doing that. I love it before I'm going to do any sort of sport or any sort of lifting or anything like that. But it's an unusual product. But it's used for people fasted cardio.
Yes.
A lot of people take it before they do endurance-based sports.
Yep.
A lot of people take it before they go to the gym.
Yep.
And one of the things that I like about it is taking it in between meals.
It does contain CLA, which is conjugated linoleic acid, which is good for lots of things in the body.
It is. And peppermint oil, Steve?
Is great for, I'm going to say it, grip strength.
Right.
It improves your strength.
Okay. I think that's a food claim. I think we're allowed to say that.
And it helps you jump higher. There's been studies done on this.
So good for basketballers.
Great for basketballers. Yeah, absolutely. It'd be terrific. It also contains, of course, that's what the peppermint oil is, but it also contains pomegranate. So it's got the omega.
Love pomegranate.
I know.
Oil.
It's got the omega-9, omega-7, omega-6, omega-5, and omega-3 oils.
Yeah.
I mean, how many omegas do you want?
Yep.
Most supplements just have omega-3s.
3, 6, and 9.
Yeah. Yeah, at the most.
And some of them over-index on omega-3, which is understandable because, I mean, again, that is like, but if you can get 7, 5 as well, that's pretty cool.
It is really cool. Think of the odd numbers as being like a lot of the anti-inflammatory ones. Yeah. You still need the 6 though.
Yeah.
And that's why that's in there. That's what they call them essential fatty acids.
So if you're looking for something a bit different, you don't want caffeine before you train, but you're looking for that little pep in your step.
That's good pep. I love it.
Yeah. I love it. So try Amperage. I mean, again, it's one of my favorite supplements. It's very different. It's very unique. It's one of those things where I like to say the proof's in the pudding. Give it a try. See how you go with your training.
And all filler, no killer. It's got no additives. Yeah, do you like that saying?
I do. Hey.
So it's a terrific product. No fillers, no sweeteners, no nothing.
Yep.
Tastes great.
So you can use it if you're on a ketogenic-based diet,
yes,
which a lot of people do like. Yep. Again, if you're over the stimulants, but you want to find something that you can use before you train, you can give this a try and see how you go.
You might train after work at 5:30. You don't want to take too many stimulants then.
That's exactly right, Steve. So anyway, again, it's one of my favorite supplements. Yep. Give it a try if you like it. Let us know. Give us your feedback. Anything else, Steve?
No, it's a great product.
All right, good one.
Now,
I digress.
I'm asking you about women now. The biggest cause of death in women,
yes,
and this might surprise you, is heart disease. Okay.
Oh, I wouldn't have picked that.
Yeah. Okay. Guess what the second biggest one is in women? This one will surprise you.
I don't know, frustration with men.
Well, sort of. Stroke.
Yeah. Okay. I could believe that.
Yeah. Women get a bum deal with stroke.
Why?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Stroke is the second cause of death. This is published in Stroke in Women When Gender Matters. Oops. That's what the title of the paper is.
Look, Steve, I think we're going to play this straight down the line.
Okay, good.
Like if people disagree with that, then fine. We're just reading the papers and our understanding
what
currently
says, I didn't make it up.
Of science. Look, I think most people listening to this probably are on board, Steve. So,
all right.
Yeah.
So stroke is the second cause of death in women worldwide, with sex-specific causes of stroke in younger women, such as pregnancy, postpartum period, oral contraception, and they get more migraines. And all those are 4 risk factors for stroke.
Sticky blood.
Yeah, sticky blood.
Which comes from a higher level of a more toxic form of estrogen.
Yep.
Correct?
Exactly right.
Yep.
And speaking of toxic forms of estrogen, and the paper says, and I'll quote this, hormonal treatment in older women is no longer recommended in regard to the increased stroke risk.
Is this HRT you're talking about? But this is the problem, right? And again, like broad movers with using drugs, which again, and I'm not anti-drugs, I'm not anti-pharmacy, but the problem is that oftentimes they use brute force. They use a sledgehammer where you could use a hammer.
Correct.
They just bang, and you get all the side effects and everything else with it as well too, which is where we come back to. We believe that nature knows best. We believe that utilizing natural supplementation, herbs can help to correct things nicely. Yeah. And again, sometimes you need intervention, which you need that broad, that real hammer, right? Like that sledgehammer.
Exactly.
But most times you don't. And it's by inch, it's a cinch, if that makes sense, slowly, over time. So detoxifying, so increasing testosterone load through natural exercise, food, sleep, looking after your adrenal function, herbs, but then also making sure that you detoxify the bad estrogen levels. Yeah. So watching out for things like xenoestrogens, which xenoestrogen is just estrogens from the environment.
Correct.
Things like plastics, the quality of water that you're getting, even the environment that you find yourself in as well too. But then also treating the natural estrogens and food, obviously, and water, huge, right? Absolutely. Huge. 75-80% of it's right there in your food and in your water and in your oxygen, your air, right? If you can get really good quality things there, that's probably going to overcome 80% of it, Steve.
Absolutely. And also a lot of women, younger women, supplement with estrogen by the form, I know it sounds weird, but with this form of the pill. Right. A lot of women take the pill.
Yep.
Now, there are 4 generations of pill. The third ones are the ones that cause stroke.
And Steve, we did a podcast on the pill.
Did. Yeah.
So we can look that up. Matt, you want to flash that on the YouTube screen now?
Episode.
Yeah, I can't remember the episode, but guys, look it up. So we did one on the pill. And this was all, again, Steve, we were very, very cautious to make sure that all of the information we provided in that episode was factually based through peer-reviewed and meta-analysis. Yep. Was it the Cochrane review, I think we used?
We used the Cochrane. Yeah. Yep. This is a well-known side effect. Yep. And now, I mean, this paper is saying that, and this is published in Urology, so it's quite a big paper, is saying that they no longer recommend HRT because of the stroke risk and clot risk, so heart disease and stroke, which is good news that they're coming out. So, but unfortunately,
Steve, don't you find it strange though that and this is why I love integrated doctors and naturopaths and natural medicine doctors, is that, and again, I'm not beating up on pharmaceutical industry, right? But why don't they consider promoting and recommending more herbs and supplementation? Steve, there is so much information. You just need to go to PubMed and some of these other publications. Now, we're not saying that all of them are rolled gold and all the rest of it, but we've got thousands of years of research. Now we've got modern science proving some of the beneficial effects of herbs. Yeah. But yet they're not being recommended for women as an alternative. But through the broad media and through the broad spectrum, right? So,
I mean, we talked about them at a podcast we did about there's many herbs you can take for menopause and all sorts of things that can mitigate the symptoms scientifically. Black cohosh, red clovers, those sort of things. Think of the coloured herbs, red and black. Yep. But really, I mean, women
Crusaders.
are also...
Sorry, that's my football team.
What was that?
Christchurch, New Zealand. Crusaders, red and black.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, they're Bombers in Melbourne. Red, black and white are the Saints. That's my team. Women also get more migraines.
Right.
So I'm including this with stroke, but they get 3 times as many migraines as men. Why? Because they have to live with men mostly.
Yeah.
That's the reason. But it's because they have a lot of estradiol. Estradiol increases calcitonin and gene-related peptide, which causes vasoconstriction and vasodilation and causes migraines, particularly vasodilation. So real bad stuff going on. That's why they get more migraines, and one of the reasons why you can get more strokes and also oral contraceptive pills. So strokes and migraines are bad for women. Real bad. We are having a theme. We'll get on to the men stuff soon.
Now, who cares about them?
All right, who gets more depressed, women or men?
Women, for sure.
Twice as likely.
And again, I think we know part of that. Okay, that joke's getting old, but yeah, man, okay. But why?
Now, women cop this because they, every cycle, their estrogen and progesterone, particularly estrogen levels, drop naturally because they're ovulated, the egg doesn't get fertilized, those two hormone levels drop, which cause lack of serotonin in the brain. So they're much more prone to depression.
Right.
Much more prone.
So how can we overcome that, Steve?
Okay, you can get healthy depression and non-healthy depression.
Healthy depression?
Yeah, there's healthy depression. Like a healthy depression is like, for example, my cat Flatface. He's alive and well.
Yep.
But let's say he died, I'd become depressed.
Yep.
That's considered a healthy depression.
Yeah, because there's a reason.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
An unhealthy depression is life's going really good, but you're depressed. And that's what they consider an unhealthy depression. There's no causative factor.
Yep.
And of course, depression is healthy because if you're not depressed when your mum dies or dad dies or something like that, then there's something wrong.
Yeah.
You should feel those sort of negative things. So there is healthy and unhealthy depression.
And before we go any further, and again, I'm always very cautious around this area of mental health. And it would be remiss of us not to say, if you are feeling blue, down, the black dog, depressed, whatever you want to call it, go and seek help.
Yes.
Go and call Lifeline, go and call Beyond Blue. There are all sorts of organisations, and this is just in Australia, but everywhere. There are organisations and support groups that can help you. And you don't have to face it alone. One of the worst things is trying to help yourself and pull yourself up by your bootlaces. Sometimes you can't. And the acknowledgement of that is the first place to go. Then go and get help from a support group somewhere. So look it up and do it. It is not weak, and I'm talking mainly to men here because women typically are better at asking for help.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's really important, and it's massive, Steve. And look, as I said, at the moment, we've been bombarded, right? You're bad. The world's bad. It's all going to end bad, right? It's just bad everywhere. Yeah. And some people's, have had more to deal with than others as well too. And some people are more susceptible to it. And there's nothing bad about that.
Absolutely. It's like
you
a
need
sore
to go
ankle.
and get help.
It's forget the neck. It's mental health is the same as physical health. There's no stigma attached to it. Not anymore anyway. And maybe there is in some circles, but there's not.
It shouldn't be.
All right. So here's another one for you. Who gets more autoimmune diseases? Everyone know what an autoimmune disease is? When the immune system attacks
like
itself?
lupus. That sort of thing, right?
Yep. Who gets more?
Autoimmune.
Yeah.
I say women again.
It's women again.
Yeah.
2-1.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just they've got a raw deal.
Well, so far,
but then they live longer.
Yeah, so I've got some good deals for them later on, but I've got some raw deals now. Yeah, they get more because they've got 2 X chromosomes, and a lot of the immune system hangs out on the X chromosome, all the genes for it.
Yeah, right.
So they have a much more potent immune response.
So stronger immune response, which can sometimes then end up effectively misfiring and attacking itself.
Correct.
The body.
That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
They get much more. So it's a ratio of 2-1.
Wow.
So like lupus is very. Guys can still get lupus. I had an autoimmune disease. I had ankylosing spondylitis, and that's very sex specific for men.
Right.
But most, and I'm being very across the board here, it's women get more autoimmune diseases. They have a much more robust immune system.
Yeah.
Estradiol is more immune stimulatory. So it's an interesting one. So autoimmune diseases for women. Sucks. What about hypothyroidism? Low thyroid function.
I'm going to say women again.
You're going to say women again? You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Women get more low thyroid levels.
Yep.
Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. And what's the outworking of a low thyroid, Steve?
Oh,
energy, sluggishness,
low energy,
weight gain.
You get constipation, weight gain. You can get depression.
Yep.
That's a reversible form of depression.
Right.
It's like, I don't know why, I'm just not motivated, I'm depressed and all that. And they can't understand why. Putting on weight, and it's like, oh, this is a sign of a low thyroid.
And again, Steve, I know that you're very passionate about then going and measuring TSH, which again, as you say, is probably not the most effective way to look for the problem.
Correct. You measure free T3 and free T4.
Yeah.
They're the active hormones in the body, particularly free T3.
Yes.
And that's the very active hormone in the body.
Yeah.
So this is reversible by, taking iodine and tyrosine and thyroid supplements. Yep. Mm-hmm. So there's plenty of natural ones around.
Yeah. Name some of them, Steve.
Okay, some great thyroid things is firstly iodine.
Yep.
Now, you heard of T3 and T4. That's the number of iodines on there. Mm-hmm. And that's stuck to an amino acid called tyrosine. Mm-hmm. So look out for things with iodine and tyrosine in it. And then there's special herbs that help you make more of T3, such as cinnamon, for example, is another good one like that.
Narogenin.
Yeah, narogenin is very good for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that drives it through. So keep an eye out for supplements with those ingredients.
And some of the outworkings also may be cold extremities, Steve, like cold hands and things like that.
Sensitive
be part
to
of
cold.
It. Sensitive to cold.
So they're the sort of people that you walk out on a day like today, it's 18 degrees, and they're all rubbed up and they're all like this, and you kind of go, oh, it's a nice day. And so they're the people that are you just tell they're more susceptible to the cold.
Tony is she? But I think that's more because she's actually part lizard. I always joke with her about that. Okay. She loves warm weather, like seriously, and she's out under the sun, and she's just like a lizard on a rock. But whereas I like the cooler weather, but she loves it, man. She hates the cold weather and loves the warm weather. But that's But yeah.
It's funny. Beck's like that too. She had low thyroid too.
Did she?
Yeah.
Did she overcome it with supplementation?
Yep. I won't say which ones.
No. We don't want to go to jail.
Don't want to know.
No.
Skip over that. So that's a good one there. Okay. Here's the big C.
Yeah.
We can talk about this. We're not talking about
No, we can talk about cancer. Absolutely.
Who gets more, men or women?
Women.
It's actually men.
Really?
It's about time the men win something for it.
I would have thought women got it because of estrogen.
Yeah, I think so. No, men get way more cancer.
Okay.
And when I say way more, lifetime risk.
Prostate would be the number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can offset that with breast cancer.
Right, yeah, fair enough.
Although men get breast cancer
very rare.
Very rarely.
Yeah.
And women never get prostate cancer, although I don't know if we can say that anymore.
Yeah, no, we can. Absolutely.
Okay, good. It says 0 in here as prostate cancer for women, so that's the paper. So this is published in Current Cancer Epidemiology. So that's the name of this title. That's published 2019. And for a lifetime cancer rates, 22.4% of men get cancer.
Well, I've had cancer, Steve.
Yes, you have.
Very minor, and people don't think about this, but
that's
skin cancers. Now, that could be as Solaris, which is very minimal, not particularly invasive.
Yep.
But some cancers, obviously, are a lot worse than others.
Absolutely.
So the ones like pancreatic cancer, I mean, they're really bad.
I've got a breakdown of some of the cancers here, but basically, men get 22.4, women get 18.2%.
Oh, wow, that's pretty big.
So it says 4%, but if you think about cancer is one of the largest causes of death, this is one of the reasons why women live longer.
Question, is skin cancer attributed to men more highly because typically, and again, I'm not being sexist here, but they were working outside more. So therefore, and not only that as well too, if you consider that men also typically, and again, I don't like beating around the bush, but okay. Right. So traditionally, and I'm talking back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, blah, 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 that they were working with more chemicals like plastics and petroleum, talking about like diesel mechanics and stuff like that are obviously getting exposed to a lot of free radicals as well too, a lot higher than women would be.
Very much so. We do get more skin cancer. We also get, you're going to love this, about double the lung cancer.
Smoking?
Yep. Largely because men smoke more.
Right.
What's that one? Oh, that's prostate cancer. Don't worry about that one.
Yep.
Okay, so colon cancer. Men get much more colon cancer.
Is that because they're not eating as well as females?
And we're idiots, according to this study.
Right.
We don't test ourselves. We've got a complaint. It's like, whatever.
That's one. As I said before, women are far more likely to go and seek help because they're not, I don't know if it's the inconvenience or the natural or inbuilt or trained, she'll be right, especially with Australian males, right?
Yeah, Australian males.
But I think it's the same universally, is that most men are, no, we're tough.
Yep.
We've got nothing to complain about.
Oh.
I'll go fight the lion sort of thing.
It's really difficult. I'm just looking through here now. There's not many cancers that women get more of. We get more stomach cancer. We get more liver cancer. We get more cancer of the rectum by by twofold.
Fiber?
We just eat like crap.
Yeah.
They basically say that, and they say it more politically correct than that, but they say that men don't eat as well. You've got to remember an obese man, they don't care as much about their weight as a woman does. And therefore, women's are more likely to eat slightly healthier food, generally.
And we talk about this in the SAD diet, Standard American, Standard Australian, or the SED diet, Standard English diet. I mean, like we on average, and I'm not sure which way it's trending, it'd be interesting to have a look at this, that we need about 25 grams of fiber when we're getting about 15.
Yes.
So there's almost, half, Steve.
Exactly.
Almost a 50% deficit. It's 40% deficit.
Incredible. There is one cancer that women get 3 times more than men.
Besides breast cancer?
Oh, yeah, besides all that.
Yeah.
Thyroid.
Yeah.
I
was going to say thyroid,
Because they have much more autoimmune diseases like Hashimoto's disease, and bladder cancer, men get about 4 times more bladder cancer.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have thought through urinary tract infections that women are more susceptible to through thrush and things like that they would have had higher.
Yeah, no, we get at a percentage rate of 1.08, women 0.27.
Wow.
A lifetime risk.
I would never have guessed that.
I wouldn't have guessed. I didn't know. I guess half of these. And we get more pancreas, leukemia, and kidney cancers. We get twice as much kidney cancer. So
drinking more?
Yeah, we drink more and we do
smoke more, and
we're dumber.
Yeah.
What's that one? Oh, cervical cancer. I was going to say we don't get that one. All right, that's
strange. That.
Yeah.
Okay.
So pretty interesting, isn't it? So, okay. Now, this is a really weird one because let's say you're overweight. Okay. Just remember that the detrimental role of being overweight is bad for cancers and heart disease and a million other diseases.
Yep.
But this stat blew me away, and it's sexist.
Yep.
But it says 55% of cancers diagnosed in women and 24% diagnosed in men were considered obesity-related cancers.
Wow.
So if you're obese as a woman, you have twice the rates of getting cancer than if you're obese as a man due to your obesity, if that makes sense.
So I don't know why, but I'm going to guess. But obviously, if you've got more fat cells, then you're producing more estrogen.
That's it.
So with regards to men, because we also have the offsetting effect of higher testosterone production,
that's right.
It's keeping the ratios more in check.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. And also women get more estrogen-sensitive cancers like breast cancer.
Yeah.
Prostate cancer is bad for us. If you're overweight, you increase prostatic cancer.
Yep.
But when it comes to dying of these cancers, breast cancer is slightly more deadly because prostate cancers can be detected early with a PSA test. And a woman can live without their breasts, but very commonly the breast cancer metastasizes quicker than prostatic cancer.
So some of the things that you can do for prostate cancer, while we're talking about that, which is obviously a big one for males, things like, zinc's very important, and selenium.
Selenium is very important.
Really, really important. So you can get things like Brazil nuts, which can help a lot. And again, my dad used to eat a lot of pumpkin seeds as well too.
That's very good.
As he got older.
It really is good for the prostate. But don't drink cow's milk. I know you've heard me say that before, but that's very bad for your prostate among all of them. Cow's milk is heavily associated with that.
Okay. So if you're concerned about that, got a history of that, potentially in that.
Stay lean, don't drink milk, exercise, get vitamin D.
Yep.
So, you might want to get up in the morning, instead of having your cereal and cow's milk, you get up and go for a run in the sun. And beautiful day today, you'll get exercise, you'll stay lean, and you'll get vitamin D.
Yep.
So that's a better way to start your day.
Have 3 Brazil nuts a day.
Yep.
And or have some pumpkin seeds every day.
Absolutely.
Throw it in your cereal. You won't even know it's there.
It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So there was another study done on cancers, and basically 33% overall in this particular study, because gender differences in cancer susceptibility, and this was published, very recently, 2021, was it just 2012? This one, and when they've done all the studies, 33% you get more cancer if you're a man. So you've got a 33%
higher risk.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a bit scary.
Yeah, it is.
A little bit scary. It's like, okay, we get less Alzheimer's, but we get more
Can I choose to be a female now?
Yeah, if you don't want to get cancer, but then you'll get more autoimmune disease or more depression.
I'm so joking, Steve.
Crazy. All right. Here's an interesting one. What about metabolic syndrome and cardiovascular disease? Cardiovascular disease is the biggest killer in Australia and the Western world.
I think you're on to men now, so I'm just going to say men. Am I right? Because
Yeah. And then, so this is the big killer. Yeah. This is where we fall down big time with our health.
Right, cardiovascular.
Yeah, I'll read this. Women live longer than men and develop cardiovascular disease at an older age. So we get it when we're younger, like the Shane Warnes of the world, who are 53, he's a cricketer for those who are listening, and I know there's women die younger too, but we're more likely to get heart disease younger. It's scary, isn't it? So, bit of worry. Also, metabolic syndrome, and I actually showed this to Matt, the cameraman. I showed this graph, and we could probably put it up.
Matt, the cameraman?
That's what we call him, with the long hair like that, and I'm going bald. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So it's basically the percentage of patients with metabolic syndrome over the last, in this case, 10 years, undergoing coronary artery surgery. And what they found was that women that are obese or that have metabolic syndrome are much more likely to get treated than men.
Right. Okay.
Because men are idiots.
Again, so part of the reason for mortality is the fact that women seek treatment.
They do. Men, and the papers are clear on this, men, when we're overweight, we don't care. We just don't care.
Yeah.
When I say don't care, they may internally care, but they don't do anything about it.
Right.
When they've interviewed them, and I looked at some what they call qualitative and quantitative studies. Now, qualitative studies is more about attitudes and feelings. And when they do studies on men, they're always saying, yes, I must get on to exercise, I must lose weight, and all this. Women are more likely to take actions. Now, I don't know whether that's a social thing where women in the past were socially pressured a bit to become thin. I'm not too sure, but men are lazy. And I'm being sexist, I know, but
you're being sexist in the right direction, Steve, so it's fine.
But it's true, though. We're terrible. We're terrible. So cardiovascular disease, women get it in this particular study, 4.1% versus men, 6.4%.
Yeah, it's a big
so we
difference.
get like 50% more of it. It's terrible. And all cause death, you're going to love this, was 4.5% for heart disease for women and 7.4% for men. Now, the ultimate question that everyone's been waiting for the answer for is there such a thing as a man flu? Now, this is vitally important.
Oh, I love this because I actually saw this report several years ago. I think it was a Harvard report that actually looked at man flu. And I always say to Tony that I feel flu more than you. She's like, you sexist peg. But I've got a feeling is that men are, and I think it's been scientifically proven, that men do get hit harder because of the interleukin-6 or something like that. Tell me.
All right. The title of the British Medical Journal.
Oh, British, not Harvard. Okay.
Okay, that's all right. We're in the same ballpark.
Yeah. Well, maybe this is a different report. Anyway.
It says the science behind, quote, man flu.
Yep.
And it says man flu, less inflammation, but more consequences in men than women.
I knew it.
We get it. It's real. It's real.
It's true. So what happens, Steve?
Well, what happens is women have got 2 X chromosomes and we've only got 1.
Yep.
And all the immune system genes hang out on the X chromosomes. Yep. And because we're lazy and only got 1 X chromosome, we've got a Y chromosome.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter in the immune system. So they have a more potent immune reaction, which is why they get more autoimmune diseases. You see that?
But they're also better at fighting off
infections. And that's why with recent large-scale infections, twice as many men died than women.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in other words, they're twice as effective. So when I get the flu, Steve, I feel it. It's 100% hurting me more.
Way more
women.
And we should tell Tony
Love it.
that.
You know what? Put that in your pipe and smoke it because man flu is true.
And I was talking to
So you think. So when your man is lying on the couch, don't call him a lazy bum.
No.
He needs chicken soup. He needs noodles, chicken soup. He needs put some blankets on him and pat his head and tell him that you love him and that you understand that he's going through something that you could never understand.
They can never understand.
No. I just said that they could understand.
About 20 or 30 hate letters for that.
I'm trying to trigger people on purpose, right?
I'm quantifying numbers of females in a row.
But for men that are listening to this, here is the scientific evidential proof.
Yep.
That yes, it is not in your mind. That man flu is true. You're doing it twice as tough. Twice as tough as women.
Yep.
So when they're bouncing back, and in fact, when they've got the flu, say, you don't know. That's nothing compared with what I'm going through.
I'm going to read this study because I don't want to get in too much trouble.
I love being in trouble, Steve.
All right. Well, I'm going to get in trouble now. This is a quote from the paper. What they did was they took 30 healthy volunteers, 15 men, 15 women, and they gave them two nanograms of purified endotoxin from E. coli. So it simulated them getting an infection. Now LPS will give them it won't give them the infection, but it'll give them the effects of the infection.
Wow, that's man. Imagine, pick me. I'll be up for that.
We found that women mount a more pronounced pro-inflammatory immune response than men, whereas the anti-inflammatory response was not significantly different. So in other words, the women responded, I'll say better, because inflammation is good when you got an infection.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
But the last sentence here is where we're going to get the emails on.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. So yes, men complain when feeling sick, just like women do. But in our controlled human in vivo setting, men did not complain more, even though end organ dysfunction was more pronounced.
And this goes back to proving what you were saying before, is that men typically don't complain or seek medical intervention.
Yep.
We just wear it because we're men and we're manly men.
And the two men that
not like you women.
There is a final sentence which could be cut from this, but it may not be. This was written by two men, this paper.
Oh, well, it's biased then, Steve. If it had been written by a man and a woman, it would have been fine.
Well, it's by Lucas and Peter.
No, you're already giving them out, Steve. And when I say them, I mean the lovely sex women.
All right, you ready for this one? Yep. This is a horrendous sentence.
Yeah, go for it.
Clearly, we men do not moan about it. We just take it like a man.
Oh, leave that in because that's not us.
Going out?
Now,
that's a quote.
Look, I would not.
That's a quote from the paper.
Yeah, you can.
British Medical Journal.
That's written in by pen. Steve said. But I would not be. I mean, obviously, those two guys are either recently divorced or never married. But
how cancelled are these people?
I'm being very facetious here, but I love it, Steve. It's kind of funny.
The funny thing
I'm going to show that to Tony, and then I'm probably not going to eat for a week because I don't know how to feed myself.
I can read out the author's email address on the bottom of this paper.
No, he's probably had enough hate mail already.
It's published.
But I find this, and again, we say this all in jest, guys. We're just teasing. We like to say it for a bit of a thing, but yeah. Well, there you go.
So women are wusses, really, is what we've started. It's just amazing that I mean, but really that statement was a bit of an interesting one. That
does it make you feel justified?
There is a little bit. Yep. Now, we would do anything for our wives, but
I'd throw myself in front of a bus.
Yeah, but I'd also throw a paper in front of them when I'm sick and say, look after me. I am a male and I've only got one Y chromosome, one X chromosome. Of course, I only got one Y chromosome.
Yeah.
Men can have two Y chromosomes.
I was going to say, what happens if does that make you a manly man?
It doesn't have a major adverse effect, but about 1 in 500 to 1 in 1,000 men have two Y chromosomes.
Do they have an X and two Y?
Yeah, X and two Ys.
Wow. What happens if you just had two Ys?
I don't think that's possible because one of your parents would be a woman, wouldn't it? I don't know of anyone with those two Y chromosomes.
I think I could probably have two Y chromosomes.
You can have two Y and an X. That's no problem. And you can have
X,
three
Y,
X's, and you have obviously
three X's.
Yeah, you can have three X's. Trisomy. You can have two X's.
Three strikes and you're out, I say.
Yes, that's it. You're very womanly then. And you can also have Fragile X syndrome, which is
Really?
Yeah, Fragile X syndrome is a pretty common cause of autism.
Huh.
Yeah. And ADHD. It causes neurological effects, particularly it affects men. And women with Fragile X, they go through menopause at the age of 40. Yeah. Very interesting.
It is very interesting.
Yeah. So it's pretty rare, not super rare, but it's around. So We could do a whole There's so much to do with chromosomes. But that's for another podcast, I guess.
It is.
But isn't that interesting? That
Very interesting. You love that paper, Steve. You saved the best for last. Seriously, you're going to frame that and put it on your wall.
I'm taking that one home.
Yeah.
That's going home. Sorry.
I'm not even going to mention that to Tony, right?
No,
it's like a red flag to a bull. She'll just, that's just an abstract paper. That's just rubbish. She showed me the full report.
Stupid British Medical Journal.
Yeah, and she goes, it's biased because it was done. It's confirmation bias because it was done by two men.
It was done by two men.
Yeah, see, you can just discount that paper. I can hear it.
And you know, it's published in Letters, which means it's a study, but it's got opinion in it.
See, here we go.
So
here we go. Two men like that's
But that's why they can say quite clearly, we do not moan about it. We just take it like a man.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's just inflammatory. I bet you there's no actual real science in that whatsoever.
Oh yeah, they gave him endotoxin.
Oh yeah.
But here's the funny thing that I love it. You know how you got to disclose your biases. They said competing interest, none declared.
Oh, what? And they're both men.
Normally, if
we are men.
If you work for Pfizer, you say I work for Pfizer and all this, but none declared. So I reckon they should have declared their genitalia.
I reckon they should have too.
Yeah.
Because it is confirmation bias.
Absolutely.
Because you can't tell me that they wouldn't have been looking at that going, I want a reason to go home or declare to women that yes, we are hard done by and you just don't understand.
But men die of more infections. Recent pandemics have shown that.
Nobody cares.
No one cares.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
All right.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. The last one's.
And if you don't get killed by your wife, we'll be back next week with some more.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we're back next week. We'll see. We'll see how Beck reacts to that because she listened to this. Okay. I won't tell her about it because it comes out in a few weeks. So I've got a few weeks grace. I've got a few weeks to prepare.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us. Please, if you've got some comments, we'd love to hear from you. And again, all with love, people. If you disagree, that's great. We'd love to hear from you. But again, in love. Everything in love. All right.
Okay. See you next week.
Thanks, guys. Bye. Bye.